Namaste to everyone. Dear friends, students and scholars, today we are going to have a important discussion on my life with Baiga. I am making a film on love, nature and harmony. This subject matter I am bringing to you based on my research on the primitive tribes of India. That is where I have worked in central India. Before beginning today's lecture, I would like to share a personal fieldwork experience with you. Research in social sciences, especially in anthropology, is not only about reading books or sitting in classrooms. It often requires research to travel into remote and sometimes difficult regions in order to understand human cultures directly. During my research among the Baiga tribe, I conducted fieldwork in Mandla district of Madhya Pradesh. At that time, the region was known to be influenced by Naxalite movement activities. Entering such areas for academic research is not easy. It requires patience, courage, and the ability to build trust with local communities. Hence, I would like to express that my life at risk. I have worked in this Mandla region and I had to get the permission from the Naxalites, and they have given me the timing morning 9 o'clock to evening 4 o'clock. I was allowed to work among the tribal villages. Afterwards, I had to return my camp place, that is in the Baiga village hut. Keeping my life at risk, I have done this research and collected the data for my ethnographic film. The data collected with several efforts, I am presenting it to you today. I spent nearly 3 months in the field. During that time, I slowly established contact with village elders and community members. I carefully explained the purpose of my research, that it was not for personal profit or commercial use, but for documenting and preserving the cultural traditions of Baiga people for the future generations. In the regions of affected conflict or political tension, an outsider is often viewed with suspicion. Therefore, the most important task for anthropologists is to develop genuine relationship based on respect and honesty. Only after long discussion and assurance did the community finally allow me to observe and record their songs and dances. This experience taught me that anthropological fieldwork is not merely academic work. Sometimes it involves real personal risk and deep commitment to cultural preservation. Students and scholars and friends, before beginning this today's discussion, I want you to imagine something. Imagine that you are standing in a small tribal village deep inside the forest of central India. It is night. The air cool and quiet. Suddenly the moon rises slowly above the tall sal trees. The forest begins to glow in soft silver light. Then from the center of the village, you begin to hear the sounds of drums. Young men and women gather in a circle. They began to dance. But this is not merely a dance. Something more beautiful is happening. A young man begins to sing. His voice travels through the moonlight force. His song is not just music, it is a message. He is singing to a girl in the circle. The girl listens, she smiles, and then she replies another song. Soon the entire village is listening to the musical conversation. This is not a private love story. It is a cultural institution of courtship. During my field research among the Baiga tribe of Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, I had the opportunity to witness and record such a moonlight song exchanges. What I realized that night was something very important for anthropology. In tribal societies, love, nature, music, and social rules are beautifully interconnected. Today's discussion is about the connection song Exchange of the Baiga Moonlight Dance. Let us now discuss few songs of the Baigas which I have recorded in my fieldwork. These songs are originally sung by the Baiga people in their language, but I have translated into English language. Now let us have some songs which are very important for our discussion. The boy sings, "The moon has climbed above the salt tree, and the forest paths are bright tonight. If you smile at me, my forest flower, I will bring you the red palash bloom. It grows where the hill meets the mist, and only the brave walk the path." The girl replies to the song in this way: "Flowers are many in the forest, but promises are carried by the wind. If you truly wish to bring the flower, first dance beside me in the moon circle. Let the drums see your courage." Now let us analyze this song. This song represents a dialogic form of tribal courtship where the boy and the girl communicate through poetic exchange. The boy expresses admiration using symbols from the forest, that is moonlight, salt trees, and red palash flower, signifying bravery and devotion. The girl responds wisely. Testing his sincerity, she shifts the promise from words to action by asking him to dance publicly in the moonlight circle. Anthropologically, this reflects how love in tribal societies develops through music, dance, and community participation rather than private interaction. The next song sung by the boy is "I will dance until the drums grow tired and the night birds fall asleep. If you place your hand in mine, I will bring you honey from the wild hive. Sweet as the words you hide in your smile." The girl replies in this way: "Honey is sweet, hunter of the hills, but sweeter still is the forest fruit. Bring me the yellow mahua blossoms that fall when the moon is high. Then perhaps I wish sing besides you." This song reflects a playful courtship dialogue between a young man and a woman within tribal festival settings. The boy expresses commitment by promising effort and gifts from the forest, such as wild honey, symbolizing bravery and devotion. The girl responds humorously, testing his sincerity by asking for mahua blossoms, a culturally valued forest product. Anthropologically, the exchange shows how tribal love songs combine nature symbolism, humor, and public performance, allowing young people to express attraction within socially accepted community rituals. Another song sung by the boy is "Mahua flowers fall like stars tonight. I will gather them in my cloth, but if I bring the blossoms to you, will you walk with me by the river path, where the deer drink in silence?" The girl replies with a laugh, "If the river hears our footsteps, it will carry our secret away. Bring me the meat of a swift forest rabbit, caught by your hunter's skill, when I will not hide my answer." This song presents a symbolic dialogue of courtship between young man and woman in tribal cultural setting. The boy offers mahua flowers and invites the girl for a private walk, expressing affection through nature imaginary. The girl responds playfully, but also tests his ability and sincerity by asking to bring a hunted rabbit. Anthropologically, such exchange reflects how tribal societies link love, skill, and responsibility, where courtship is expressed through poetic challenges, roots in forest life. The boy's final verse is I will follow the rabbit through the bamboo. I will climb the hill for flowers. I will gather honey from the rocks. But tonight, beneath this moon, let your laughter be my reward. In response, the girl says like this: Then dance, forest hunter, dance. Let the drums speak for your heart. If the moon is kind to us tonight, perhaps tomorrow the elders will smile. This final exchange reflects the culmination of tribal courtship dialogue. The boy expresses dedication through symbolic promises of hunting, gathering honey, and bringing forest flowers, demonstrating bravery and commitment. The girl responds by encouraging him to prove his sincerity through dance before the community. Anthropologically, the song shows how love is publicly expressed through performance, where courage, skill, and participation is a collective rituals, eventually lead to social approval and a possible marriage within the tribal community. Such a playful exchange of songs between men and women may continue for hours during the full moon dance. Each verse becomes a symbolic negotiation of affection, where flowers, fruits, animals, and forest resources become metaphor for love, commitment, and social bonding. In many of the songs I recorded, the young men addresses their beloved through references to elements of natural environment. The forest, with its rich diversity of plants and animals, becomes a poetic vocabulary through which emotions are expressed. For example, one of the songs, the young man tells the girl that if she loves him or if she gives him a kiss, he will bring her particular flower from the forest. The flower in this context is not simply a botanical object, it symbolizes affection, beauty, and commitment. The girl then responds through another song. Her response is equally symbolic and playful. In one instance, the girl replies that she will consider giving him a kiss if he brings her the flesh of a rabbit. This exchange continues in a lively and humorous manner throughout the night. Each verse is followed by another verse, creating a dialogue of songs that may last for hours. These musical exchanges are not merely entertainment, they function as a socially accepted mechanisms for courtship and partner selection within the community. Through these songs and dances, young people get an opportunity to observe each other, interact with each other, and gradually develop emotional bonds. In an anthropological perspective, such practices demonstrate how tribal societies have developed culturally structured ways to regulate social interaction between young men and women. Unlike many modern societies where courtship may occur in private spaces, in Baiga society, these interactions takes place in communal environment where the entire community is aware of the process. Interestingly, similar tribal songs and courtship traditions were also documented by earlier anthropologists who worked in central India. One such scholar was Professor Verrier Elvin, who spent many years living among the tribal communities of central India and recorded numerous songs, myths, and folklore of these societies. My own recordings among the Baiga confirms many of these earlier observations, but they also highlight the continuing vitality of these traditions in the present day. In today's rapidly changing world, many indigenous traditions are disappearing due to modernization, urbanization, industrialization, and the influences of mass media. However, in some remote tribal regions like Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, these traditions continue to survive and flourish. The Baiga song exchanges I recorded illustrate how cultural traditions can function as a mechanisms of social harmony. They allow young people to express emotions in ways that are culturally meaningful, socially accepted, and environmentally rooted. From this perspective of modern society, there are several important lessons that can be learned from such tribal practices. Tribal cultures demonstrate the importance of community involvement in social relationships. In many modern societies, relationships often occur in isolation from the broader community. In contrast, Baiga courtship traditions integrate individual emotions with collective social norms. Tribal cultures show a deep respect for nature. The songs sung by Baiga youth are filled with references to flowers, animals, and forests. These references are not accidental, they reflect a worldview in which humans and nature are closely interconnected. Tribal societies remind us that love and relationship need not be separated from community values and ecological awareness. The Baiga songs I recorded demonstrate that romance can coexist with cultural traditions, environmental knowledge, and social responsibility. As anthropologists and social scientists, it is our responsibility not only to document such traditions but also to recognize their broader significance for understanding human culture. In an era when human societies are struggling with social fragmentation and environmental crisis, the wisdom embedded in tribal cultures may offer important lessons for the future of human society. The song dialogue shows several important anthropological ideas, such as symbolic communication, that is, emotions are expressed through references to flowers, animals, and forests. Social regulations of romance. Courtship occurs publicly within the community norms. Ecological consciousness. Nature is deeply embedded in emotional expression. Collective cultural participation. The entire community becomes part of the social process. These traditions were also documented by Professor Warrior Elvin, who lived for many years among the tribal communities of central India. Before concluding, let us summarize the discussion which you have made so far. Baiga love songs represents a rich example of how cultural traditions shape human relationships through rhythms, chants, poetic imaginary, and playful dialogue. Young men and women express affection within a framework that reinforces community values and ecological awareness. For anthropologists, such traditions provide valuable insights into the ways human societies organize courtship, express emotions, and maintain social harmony. In an era when many traditional practices are disappearing, documenting and understanding these cultural expressions becomes an important responsibility for scholars and researchers. The Baiga songs recorded during my fieldwork remind us that human cultures have developed many creative ways of connecting love, nature, and society into a meaningful whole. My dear students, friends, and scholars, modern society often believes it is more advanced than traditional cultures. But when you study tribal societies carefully, we discover something remarkable. Thus, they teach us that love can exist without secrecy, community can exist without conflict, and human life can coexist in harmony with nature. The Baiga moonlight songs remind us that culture is not merely about survival, it is about living beautifully within nature and society. Dear scholars, friends, and students, anthropology is not only the study of cultures but also the responsibility to respect, preserve them. When you enter the field, listen with humility, observe with patience, and record with honesty. Remember, many traditions survive today only if scholars like you document them for future generations.